When it comes to snatching wallets, European pickpockets are on a whole other level. Sure, many European cities are safe and beautiful, but others are full of scams, pickpockets, and sketchy neighborhoods that can turn your dream trip into a total headache. Today, we are breaking down 10 European cities tourists should avoid based on safety rankings and crime reports. Everyone knows these cities by name, but very few people realize how dangerous they can actually be. No place is perfect, but knowing where not to go can save you serious headaches, lost cash, and ruined days. Avoid the wrong cities and Europe becomes way less stressful and a lot more enjoyable. Stick around till the end, because number 7 might totally shock you. And if you need more useful videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. 10. Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona is one of those cities everyone thinks they know. Beaches, tapas, late nights, what could go wrong? But here's the part most tourists don't expect. Barcelona consistently ranks as one of Europe's top cities for pickpocketing, and it's not even close. The city is incredibly busy year-round, and that constant flow of visitors creates the perfect environment for small, organized theft. Las Ramblas, the metro, crowded beaches, even cafes, these are prime hunting grounds. And the wild part, many people don't even realize they've been targeted until hours later. Pickpockets here are fast, subtle, and often work in teams. One distracts you with a question, another bumps into you, and suddenly your phone is gone. It's not violent, but it's frustrating, and it can seriously mess up a trip. That said, Barcelona isn't dangerous in the way people imagine: dark alleys and constant fear. It's more about awareness. The city is lively, social, and packed with energy. But that same energy works against tourists who aren't paying attention. Even locals will tell you to keep your bag zipped and your phone tight. If this one caught you off guard, just wait, because the next city takes things up a notch. And if you've ever had a close call in Barcelona, drop a comment below. I'm curious how common these stories really are. 9. Naples, Italy. Naples is chaotic, loud, passionate, and full of life, and that's exactly why some people love it. But let's be honest, it's also one of the most challenging cities in Europe for tourists who aren't used to that intensity. Pickpocketing and bag snatching are common, especially around train stations and busy historic areas. The city moves fast, and thieves blend right into that speed. You might feel overwhelmed simply crossing the street, which makes it easier to lose track of your belongings. And while violent crime against tourists is rare, opportunistic theft is very much part of daily life here. What makes Naples different from somewhere like Barcelona is the lack of tourist polish. There's less separation between tourist zones and everyday local life. That authenticity is cool, but it also means you're not protected by a bubble. One wrong neighborhood turn, especially at night, and the vibe can shift quickly. Even locals will tell you there are streets they avoid after dark. This isn't about trashing the city, it's about knowing what you're walking into. If you're expecting a calm, relaxed Italian vacation, this place is not the best option. And if Naples already sounds intense, trust me, the next city might surprise you even more. 8. Palermo, Italy. Palermo is beautiful, historic, and complicated all at once. Located in Sicily, Palermo feels very different from mainland Italy. The culture is rich, but when it comes to safety, especially for tourists, it requires a higher level of awareness. Petty crime is common here, especially theft involving bags, phones, and unattended belongings. Crowded markets and public transportation are hotspots. Palermo also struggles with infrastructure and policing compared to more tourist-heavy cities. That doesn't mean it's lawless, but it does mean tourists can feel more exposed. If something goes wrong, resolving it might take time, patience, and paperwork. Not exactly what you want on vacation. What makes Palermo tricky is that it's not always obvious where the safe areas end. There aren't clear boundaries, and wandering aimlessly, while romantic, can backfire here. Quick pause here. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want more honest travel talk like this, make sure you're subscribed. And if Palermo feels like a curveball, just wait. The next city is one nearly everyone trusts, maybe a little too much. 7. Paris, France. Paris feels safe almost by default. It's familiar, romantic, and constantly shown as elegant and charming, so most visitors arrive relaxed. That comfort is what makes Paris tricky. It's one of the most visited cities in the world, and where huge crowds gather, pickpockets and scammers quietly follow. The biggest issues show up around famous landmarks. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, these areas are packed all day. People stop for photos, check maps, and get distracted. That's perfect for theft. A quick bump, a fake question, and suddenly your phone or wallet is gone before you even notice. Public transportation is another hotspot. The metro is efficient but often crowded, especially on tourist-heavy lines. Close contact feels normal, which makes it easy for belongings to disappear without raising alarm. Many visitors only realize what happened after they've already left the train. Paris also has neighborhoods that shift quickly. One street feels lively and welcoming, the next feels tense and poorly lit, especially at night. Paris isn't dangerous in an obvious way. It feels easy, and that's the risk. People let their guard down, assume nothing will happen, and focus on the experience. And while most trips go fine, one careless moment can turn into a frustrating memory. If this surprised you, drop a comment. And if Paris felt intense, the next city pushes things even further. 6. Budapest, Hungary. Budapest is one of those cities that feels almost too easy to enjoy. It's beautiful, affordable, and relaxed, which makes a lot of visitors assume it's automatically safe. And most of the time it is. But Budapest has a way of quietly catching tourists off guard, especially once the sun goes down. During the day, the city feels calm and inviting. The problems usually start at night. Budapest has a huge nightlife scene, and the famous ruin bars attract crowds of tourists who are tired, distracted, and often drinking. That combination is perfect for pickpocketing and small-scale theft. Scams are another issue that surprises people. Certain bars have been known for misleading menus and shockingly high bills, especially targeting visitors who don't speak Hungarian. Taxis can also be a problem if you don't stick to reputable options. None of this feels aggressive in the moment, which is why people fall for it. What makes Budapest tricky is that it doesn't feel sketchy. It's not chaotic like Naples or overwhelmingly crowded like Rome. That sense of comfort makes people drop their guard completely, and that's usually when something goes wrong. It's not constant danger, it's situational. And if this one surprised you, just wait. The cities above it take these issues to a whole different level. 5. Milan, Italy. Milan surprises a lot of people, and not always in a good way. Milan consistently deals with high levels of petty crime, especially pickpocketing and bag snatching, and tourists are frequent targets, particularly around shopping districts, train stations, and public transit. What makes Milan tricky is how fast-paced it feels. Everyone's moving quickly. That makes it easier for thieves to blend in without drawing attention. Crowded trams and metro lines are prime spots, especially during rush hour. Another issue is the area around major train stations. Even locals will warn you to stay alert there, especially at night. It's not constant danger, but the vibe can change fast. People let their guard down because it doesn't feel risky, and that's often when problems happen. If Milan wasn't what you expected, hang on, because the next city is one people romanticize even more, and the reality hits harder. 4. Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon has exploded in popularity over the last few years, and with that surge in tourism comes a rise in petty crime. The city is charming, hilly, colorful, and relaxed, but that laid-back vibe can be misleading. Pickpocketing is a real issue here, especially on trams in historic neighborhoods and in crowded viewpoints where everyone's focused on the scenery. Those iconic yellow trams, they're famous for a reason, and so are the thefts that happen on them. Packed tight, moving slowly, full of distracted tourists snapping photos, it's the perfect setup. Lisbon also has neighborhoods that feel totally fine during the day but become uncomfortable late at night. The narrow streets and steep hills can make it harder to see what's coming or get help quickly. Again, it's not constant danger, it's situational awareness. What catches people off guard is how friendly the city feels. Locals are welcoming, prices are reasonable, and everything feels easy. That comfort lowers defenses, and that's when mistakes happen. Lisbon is still an amazing city, but it rewards travelers who stay alert. And if this one made you rethink things, the next city is even more crowded and even more tempting for thieves. 3. Athens, Greece. Athens is loud, busy, and fascinating, but it can also be overwhelming, especially for first-time visitors. Pickpocketing is common, particularly around major archaeological sites and public transportation. The more famous the landmark, the higher the risk. Crowds around the Acropolis, metro stations, and busy squares create perfect conditions for theft. Add summer heat and long days of sightseeing, and people get tired and distracted. That's when phones disappear, bags get opened, and wallets vanish. Athens also has a very sharp contrast between neighborhoods. One block can feel vibrant and safe, the next can feel neglected and uncomfortable. Tourists often wander without realizing they've crossed into areas locals would avoid. Trains and buses are efficient but packed. If you're exhausted from sightseeing and not paying attention, that's when mistakes happen. The unpredictability is what throws people off. Knowing when to move on, when to slow down, and when to trust your instincts matters a lot here. If Athens feels higher on this list than you expected, you're not alone. And coming up next, a city so iconic that people ignore every warning sign. 2. Rome, Italy. There's a lot to see that it's impossible to stay focused. Ancient ruins, churches, fountains, it all hits at once. And that constant sensory overload is exactly why Rome is one of the top cities in Europe for tourist-targeted theft. Pickpocketing in Rome is not random. It's calculated. Buses, metro lines, and major landmarks like the Colosseum, Vatican, and Trevi Fountain are prime locations. Thieves know tourists are distracted, carrying valuables and unfamiliar with their surroundings, and they're good at what they do. What makes Rome especially tricky is how normal the chaos feels. Crowds are expected. Close contact feels unavoidable. So when someone bumps into you, you barely register it. That's often all it takes. Many visitors leave Rome with amazing memories, and at least one frustrating story involving a stolen phone or wallet. Scams are another layer. Fake helpers, aggressive distractions, and people offering favors that turn into pressure situations. None of it feels threatening in the moment, but it chips away at your attention. And once your focus is gone, your stuff becomes vulnerable. If Rome shocked you at number 2, take a breath, because number 1 is a completely different kind of challenge. 1. Marseille, France. Marseille earns the top spot because it's not a typical tourist city. It's raw, complex, and deeply divided. And for tourists, that combination can be hard to navigate without local knowledge. Crime rates here are higher than most major European cities, and that includes theft, robbery, and neighborhood-specific issues that visitors often don't understand until it's too late. The biggest problem isn't the city as a whole, it's how quickly things can change depending on where you are. What makes Marseille challenging is that it doesn't cater to tourists the way Paris does. There's less of a safety buffer. Wandering aimlessly, especially at night, is where people get into trouble. Some neighborhoods feel lively and welcoming during the day, then completely different once the sun goes down. Knowing where you are matters here more than almost anywhere else on this list. Tourists who assume Europe equals safe are often the ones caught off guard. Marseille is not forgiving. It demands preparation and respect for its rough edges, and that's why it sits at number 1. Let me know in the comments what city you expected to see here, and whether this list changed how you think about European travel.